Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Hear me, see me on YouTube and Instagram? Good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Not super happy, I guess, in light of global events right now. Good morning. But it's Friday nonetheless. Gonna start going through the analysis here in a minute. Good morning, Richard. Gonna start going through the analysis here in a minute. I'll give it just a minute or two for people to join. Some interesting activity overnight. We had a large panic sell-off on the news of Israel and Iran breaking out in war. Well, I guess I could just say Israel striking Iran significantly last night. Very large sell-off, expecting some very possibly intense volatility today because of that, depending on if anything else happens today or if we kind of settle before next week. Next week should really be interesting now. Next week we have FOMC rate decision, and we also have now any retaliatory strikes and escalations between Iran and Israel. Good morning, everybody. Can you guys see my screen, see my chart that I'm sharing on YouTube? For those of you guys on Instagram, if you would like to see my screens and everything, hop over to YouTube. The link is in my story on Instagram, and the link to my YouTube page is in my bio on Instagram. So if you'd like to see my screens and everything while we go through the trading session this morning, I recommend joining over here on YouTube for those of you on Instagram. Yes, all good. Everybody can see my screen. Cool. Yeah, so a lot of volatility came in last night, sold off to the low of the channel that I've been talking about all week, and we bounced back towards the middle of the range. So we'll start diving into it here just a minute. So I've got my weekly time frame pulled up on Thinkorswim charts. That's where I always start out every day. I kind of go through the higher time frames into the lower time frames and watch what develops as the week goes on. I've already kind of gone through this once this morning, but kind of going through it again here with you guys and see what nuances have changed as the week has developed. All right, so it's 9:03. Go ahead and get into it. So one last time, for anybody on Instagram, sharing my screen on YouTube, link is in my story on there. So before I get into it, as I always say, I just do this for education and entertainment purposes. I don't recommend anybody trying to just copy my trades today. There's always delay in information, delay in technology of the stream. So, your risk versus reward is never going to be the same as mine. I still take losing trades. Nothing is 100%. So if you try to copy me, that's on you, but I don't recommend it. I recommend just being here to learn. And you can walk with me throughout the trading day so you can see how I do things, and maybe it'll help you with how you do things. So that being said, we'll jump into it here. Really the same story all week, and really for the last few weeks. I'm almost getting tired of talking about it, but we had these prior all-time highs, kind of created a supply level that broke down pretty aggressively when the tariff news started earlier this year. We've now bounced back up there, and on this grind back up into this test of this area, we've been forming this channel that I've been talking about on the weekly and daily time frames. So this has been the key thing that I've really been watching, how price action reacts if we get out of this channel, or if we drop back into it, or if we test the lows and the highs of it. And so far that has continued. The one thing that's different really this week is early in the week, we saw a breakout of the high of the channel that rejected back under. And yesterday I said that was a key sign of weakness. Excuse me. So yesterday I said that was a key sign of weakness early in the day. Well, turns out later in the day, obviously the news came out of Israel striking Iran, and the market sold off pretty aggressively. So it's funny how price always has a way of preceding news. Even the most unexpected and crazy news, you can often find technical things, technical analysis in the markets that precedes that. It's almost like people are insider trading. I don't know. But so, we had that early week breakout, rejected back into this channel that I've been talking about all week. And then on this news drop last night, we broke below the lows of that channel briefly and immediately kind of recaptured back into the middle of this range. So we'll get more into it on the lower time frames. But just for context, we're still kind of in the middle of this channel. We took out the highs, we took out the lows, and now we're back in the middle of the channel. So there's definite weakness here in the market now. Bulls have not been strong at highs. Pretty significant news coming out of the Middle East, causing even more instability. And then also of note, VX has traded much higher. VX shot up from the 18s all the way to the 22s. Nothing crazy like we saw earlier this year, but it's also now holding above the 20s, which is an important level to watch. So I've got these marked here. So especially if VX stays elevated above 20 here now, after we kind of broke out and holding, that's going to continue to put additional pressure on rallies on ES. All right, so I'm going to drop down into the daily time frame now. And again, I know a few people are on Instagram. If you would like to see my screens, I'm sharing my screens and going over analysis on YouTube, and I recommend joining in the stream here so you can see the screens. The link is in my story on Instagram, and the link to my YouTube page is in my bio on Instagram. All right, so looking at the daily time frame, you can clearly see this channel that we've been in. You can see these first major like highs and lows where I started the trend lines from for this channel, and we've pretty much hugged tighter and tighter inside that, making higher lows while we grinded up to the top. And really the first major attempt to get out of this channel here failed right away, which isn't good. Obviously for bulls, you would have wanted to see it out of this channel and hold. And that occurred 2 days ago. And then yesterday we tried to break out of that channel, retested that and rejected back in and closed and held under here. So it's very interesting that we saw that kind of bearish structure before the news of Israel and Iran breaking out in war. So that obviously led to this quick aggressive drop that wicked under the low of this channel and also this prior daily swing low almost to the tick. Check that out. So very briefly dropped under that prior swing low there. Obviously grabbed some liquidity of resting orders below this daily swing low and bounced all the way back up almost to the middle of this range. So very interesting there. But so far this morning, and we'll get into the middle of this, if we this is one thing that I was looking at, is just drawing a fib here between the highs of that low and the lows of that breakdown of this channel. 50% is right around that keyhole number at 6,000. So isn't that interesting? And that's almost, yeah, to the tick this morning where we're rejecting 6,150. Yeah. So that's interesting, huh? So that's a key area that I'm watching. I already put that on my intraday time frames. For sellers to want to reject that area if we want to continue lower outside of this channel to the downside. That being said, we are waiting kind of now. We had that impulsive drop and the market is kind of waiting on one, like what is the response from Iran and other Iran-friendly nations in the world to what Israel has done with the strikes. And two, next week, we have FOMC rate decisions, which is also a key piece of information. So there's two reasons that capital is probably sitting sidelined at the moment, to kind of see what the development is. If I was trading, you know, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, those are two very key things that I'd want to see, um, where I'm starting to put my leverage. So I think that's the key points that we can see, from this daily time frame. Again, I can go over all the same stuff that I've been talking about all week. If you missed those live streams, I recommend going back and watching, to see just kind of this analysis that we've developed as the week has gone on. But really, we've stayed in this channel. We took out the highs, we took out the lows, we're back to the middle. And so far this morning, on this first test of the 50% of this range, we are rejecting and sellers are rejecting. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, just a quick plug for myself here. If you guys find value in this, there's nothing in this for me. I'm just doing this to help you guys out since I'm trading every day live anyway, or trading myself every day anyway. So if you find value in this, I would appreciate if you guys like and share. It helps me out, helps reach more people to join in, which is cool. So if you guys get value out of this, then I appreciate you just liking and sharing the content. So thank you, Brandon. So dropping down into the 6-hour time frame here now. Actually, let me zoom out a bit here, fix this view. So looking at the 6-hour, and this is what I was talking about. Like, isn't this funny? Not funny, but isn't this interesting? How we had that failed break out of this channel 2 days ago. Yesterday, we retested it and kind of rejected and laid flat, like right at this trend line at the top of this channel, right at it. And then the news between Israel and Iran came out and dropped all the way to the low of that. So isn't that very interesting how price preceded news in that way? Like that, a failed breakout of the channel and then rejecting right at the top of it again is already a bearish structure. And actually, we kind of formed a head and shoulders here on this. Oops. Kind of formed a bit of a head and shoulders here as well on this failed breakout of the channel. Now, I don't trade off chart patterns. It's just something that I observe. So if, because I know a lot of people place orders around that. So I do look if chart patterns develop, trend lines develop, stuff like that. But you guys know me. I specifically really trade based on order flow and price action around those things. Those are just giving me areas that I look on the order flow to see what develops. But that is interesting. So on the 6-hour time frame, we can see more clearly here where we kind of broke the lows of the day. And actually, really, if you see, we're also, in addition to that being the 50%, if you remember when I drew that Fibonacci, that 50% was like right here, 6,000, 6,001. That was also the opening price yesterday of this candle on the 6-hour. And then we rejected and broke below that pretty aggressively on that news break. Yes, we've recaptured back into the channel now, but just given the context that we already attempted to break out of the highs of this channel, and now negative geopolitical news has come out, and we broke back down to the lows of this channel. And now if we continue to reject the 50%, to me, that's all like multiple confluences of bearish information coming out. So lots of bearish information, in my opinion, so far. Drop down to the 4-hour here so we can just kind of see a little bit different view here. Really the same picture as the 6-hour, but we can see that same kind of head and shoulders that we formed on this failed break above the upper portion of this trend line. Rejected back lower. We broke down the low, and now we're kind of holding around the 50%. So expecting very much increased volatility today, depending on what happens. Also expecting, some fake outs and some trickery going on here, especially if the tape is thin. We got to watch out for very quick and volatile price movement. We're also right in the middle of the range here, around the 50% of this. Like I said, I'll draw it one more time here in case anybody missed it. So from like those highs on that failed breakout of the high of this channel to the lows on the failed breakdown of the lows of this channel, the 50% median is literally right here at 6,001, which we are rejecting here in the pre-market to the tick. Sebastian said, nice 4-hour supply made before the drop. Yeah. So we had this head and shoulders, we could say a 4-hour kind of supply on this failed breakout, reject back down, retested it, head and shoulders formed, news came out right at the top of this trend line, and boom, we smoked all the way through the lows of that channel. So, I mean, that's pretty textbook stuff. Unfortunately, I was not at my charts to trade it at the moment when that stuff started happening last night. And I'm not just going to jump into trades to chase kind of a sporadic news drop. So I just sat out, let it develop, and we'll use it as context going into today. So those are all the higher time frames. I'll take any questions really quick. If anybody has any questions or comments that you want to drop in there, let me know in the chat, and I will take a look really quick. Somebody asked on Instagram. Yes, I'm live on YouTube. That's where I'm sharing my screens. Quite heavy negative delta today. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of selling. It's a lot of selling. You can see I don't need anything other than this giant red bar to tell me 50%. If a 50% pullback trades breaks slightly, would you still consider it valid? Yeah, it's not like a hard, it's just an area of interest. It's not like a hard, like I trade off 50% levels. Are you guys seeing my screen lagging, or is it just me? On my end, it looks like it keeps lagging and stuff. I don't know why. My internet seems good, but yeah, it's just an area to watch. So usually at key levels, I'm not like hard, like I need to see this level hold to the tick. It's usually just I'm watching that area around that key level to see how it develops. And if we fake out above or below that, I'll really be looking for what the order flow is doing around that, based on if I want to take it long or short or whatever. What is your bias as market dropped and then held the demand and moved 70 points up? There is also low volume on the drop, right? From 6,000 to 60.32. So I never really have a bias going into the day. That's something that I don't really do. I'm not like, I'm looking for shorts today, I'm looking for longs today. I don't do that. I just come up with what if scenarios both ways, there's different things that I could see happening based on my technical analysis. And then I let the order flow and price action intraday kind of dictate which way I go with that. There are days where I'm like, yeah, this, like today, yeah, this is bearish. Like overall, the structure is bearish. The news is pretty bearish. So I want to be cautious being a buyer, especially being a buyer near highs. VX is elevated, so that tends to add resistance to any pops. So if I'm a buyer, I definitely want to be a buyer on failed breaks at the lows. I don't want to be buying a breakout. But I just keep that in mind as context. I don't have like a bias in terms of I'm looking for shorts today or I'm looking for longs today. It's very much I come up with what if scenarios based on the overall context in the market, based on the technical analysis that I do. And then I look at the order flow and price action to either confirm or invalidate that information. And sometimes invalidating that information is just as important as confirming it. If you guys remember yesterday, I was watching that key area to possibly take shorts. But then I saw absorption occurring in that area, and I said, okay, remember from my game plan, I said, if I saw pullbacks and absorption occurring in that area and sellers were not strong, then I'm not looking to short. I'm actually looking to long pullbacks into that area, which I did. So initially I was looking for shorts yesterday, but then based on the order flow and price action, I ended up taking a long and targeted a higher level. Yeah, there's a little bit of consumer sentiment news at 10 a.m. I kind of see that as kind of medium impact news, not super crazy. And also that the consumer sentiment, I think, is not a theme that's currently driving price right now. Always want to pay special attention to the news things that are really driving price recently. Um, Last year, it was very significantly like interest rate decisions and inflation. That is still a factor now, but so far the theme this year, I would say, has very much been around tariffs and international trade, and then also sensitivities around, um, things like geopolitical stuff is always a thing with Iran and Israel, Ukraine and Russia. Any significant developments there can cause some volatility. All right, so I'm going to drop down a little bit more here. We'll start going through the lower timeframes and specific plan for this morning. Again, when volatility gets really crazy like this, I always recommend sizing down and staying patient, sitting back for picking really key spots. Like there's a very good chance that I just take no trades today. I'm going to have a game plan, but that being said, like I'm very much trying to focus on being patient today. We're in the middle of this range. We've taken out the highs and lows and we're back to the middle of the range. So it's important to keep that in mind. We have crazy geopolitical news popping off. So there's a lot of reasons to stay cash today. And if you're not very experienced with trading in these kind of conditions, then I would definitely just watch and learn and not be looking to put on risk today. So, and like I said, next week we're setting up for potential volatility with the Iran and Israel news, potential volatility around FOMC rate decision next week. So there's plenty of reasons to stay cash today, and that's a totally valid position. But I'll have a game plan, and we'll watch it to see what develops. So looking at the hourly chart, I wouldn't say this is a super aggressive V-shaped bounce overnight. We've kind of grinded higher, almost just a short squeeze of everybody that chased late shorts after this initial selling from the news. So we had the initial selling from the news. Keep in mind, these are hourly candles. So news comes out. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of selling really until we made a low. And then we've kind of grinded back. So this is, in my opinion, really a short squeeze of everybody that got involved late trying to short and make money that are now getting squeezed out. And really at this first test of any kind of key area, which is 1, yesterday's opening price range, 2, the 50% of this range that I talked about around the 6,000 level, we're seeing resistance from sellers. So really this is kind of the first key area that we need to keep an eye on. And if I would say in the first 30 minutes or so, if we cannot break above this area and I see a lot of signs of absorption and seller activity, I may be looking to take that short and just target maybe this trend line into the lows under 59.20, 59.30 to 59.20 area. So probably that's the first game plan. Because we've seen this weakness now, we're going on the third day now. So after we peaked above this and broke above this channel high, we've made lower high, and now looking to make another lower high. And pretty much yesterday we had a bit of a rally back, but it really didn't sustain. And then the news came out and dropped us lower. So right now in the medium to short term, we're making lower highs. I would say bears are kind of flipping into control. We've seen bulls stay very resilient and stay in control, but over the very short term, couple days, I would say bears have kind of been in control now. And so I'm going to watch out for failed rallies here. If I don't catch it short, I don't want to be initiating shorts near the lows, so I just will stay out of it. If we do drop down here and we fail to break under this area again, so if we fail to really break down under this trend line, under this 59.30s a second time, and we make more of a double bottom, that's something I could potentially be looking to long. But again, just given the overall structure that's forming, if I take a long like that, it's really just targeted to be a quick scalp on a relief bounce. So I would just be targeting a quick 10, 20 point bounce maybe back into these key levels. Yeah, it looks like a nice bear flag, but again, like we saw all last year and so far this year, every major drop has been a buy opportunity. So I'm very cautious and actually almost completely against initiating shorts at the lows for a breakdown. But on this relief bounce here, if I see absorption and sellers reload, then I may try to catch it and be a part of it. All right, so we'll just drop down to the 15-minute here. We only got a couple minutes till the market opens. Really straight down drop after that news came out yesterday. Here's that shoulder that we talked about where the market really actually consolidated a lot. So that on that head and shoulders, we really had a consolidate. So think about this. Look at all this buying yesterday afternoon. And if you remember, I took longs here at the 20 and I targeted 30 to 35. Really, we only got a few points above that. Yeah, I missed out on a little bit of unrealized profit, but we just consolidated in this all day yesterday. And I was out in just a few minutes. I got my piece and walked away in a few minutes yesterday morning. But what I was saying here is this consolidation that formed during this head and shoulders to me looks even more bearish because we consolidated and dropped. So obviously, all this buying. Look at the highs of these green candles closing near the high, and just rejected closing near the high. So that's a lot of buying trying yesterday. I didn't watch price action. I'd have to go back and review the order flow, but I can almost guarantee you there's a lot of absorption from a passive seller up here. And no coincidence, boom, the market dropped after that. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Somebody knew something, in my opinion. And that news drop, look at how precisely that broke under that trend line and then dropped on that news. That's like shockingly accurate. And you guys have seen all week, we've been watching this trend line all week. Yeah, shockingly accurate. So here's that 50% level, like I mentioned. And this grind higher is really, this looks very squeezy to me. This doesn't necessarily look super strong from buyers. I think we might retest above the news today. Yeah, it's certainly possible. And if we break out, so, and speaking of point two, if I do see strength above this 6,000 level and I see the opposite occur, similar to yesterday where we squeeze above that and then pull back and hold, like right here. So we see how we squeezed above that high and then pulled back and held. This is right where I took longs yesterday. Could see kind of the same thing today if that continues. But the way we've just kind of squeezed up here with very minimal pullbacks, it makes me very hesitant to now initiate longs up here. So we might squeeze out of here and we might go take out these highs of this news drop before rejecting again or breaking out above it. Who knows? But just from a risk versus reward perspective and probability perspective, it doesn't look super great to me. And risk versus reward and probability management are everything. Like, yeah, there's a million ways you could try to jump in and make money when the market's moving. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a great trade idea, just based on risk versus reward and probability. All right, so market just opened. You guys have an idea of the structure and the game plan that I'm watching. I'm going to switch over to my intraday chart levels now, just a little bit focused. And you can see these levels that I've also had marked, like we bounced off there to the tick almost. So like within a point. These are levels that I've been watching all week. So I'm not super eager to chase this rally right now. Like I'll switch this over to the order flow so we can look at it together on Bookmap. So we have this pullback and squeeze here. Again, squeezing higher, I would say, like short squeeze, but not necessarily a ton of strength. It is, I mean, we are getting a lot of buying here, but how much of this is shorts covering versus people that actually want to be long the market for a longer period of time? I would say it's probably majority of shorts covering. But yeah, it's ripping, but what am I going to do here? Like we've gone a straight up rip now from 85 in the right here in the pre-market, like 10 minutes before the open, and now we just ripped straight up. Are you going to buy this up here? Where are you going to put your risk? I mean, just throw it somewhere random. And what are you going to target? Like, I guess even if you targeted the highs of the news selling at 60.35s, 60.30s, which is interesting, that's the same level where my target was yesterday for those longs, 60.30, 60.35. You know, it's kind of very like 1-to-1 at best as far as risk versus reward right here. So even if the market is moving and you like want to be a part of that direction, sometimes the setup and the risk reward just doesn't make sense. Here's some stronger selling coming in. So yesterday's regular trading hour lows right there at 6,008. We just swept a couple points above that. Again, very volatile expected today. I would highly recommend sizing down, not trading, and just sitting out if you're not comfortable. 2K lots at 60.14. I'm not seeing that. Resting order? Are you talking about this resting order? Market definitely got spooked about that right there. Yeah, a lot of selling coming in here. I don't see significantly large orders just yet. Look at this non-TM light order. So I'm seeing a lot larger orders here on the non-TM light. This TM light add-on kind of filters out some spoofing type bracket orders. So we'll see what happens here. I don't care as much about what those resting orders are unless they actually show intention and get filled. So definitely some selling here. coming in. That pop just failed now under 6,008, which was yesterday's regular trading hours low. Yeah, so we're failing like literally right at yesterday's regular trading hours low and where that opening like rally initiated. We'll see if we get another impulsive pop back up there and I see some large interesting orders, I may look to take it short. It's a lot of resting orders down here. Pretty interesting. Trump Trump to Wall Street Journal, attack would be great for the market because Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Maybe. Who knows? So maybe that's what led to that surge in buying there. That was 15 minutes ago. Trump said that, or that headline got published by the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, so very important to be cautious today of any, headlines that come out that can cause significant volatility. I highly recommend trading smaller size with risk managed if you're trading at all today in this. And I also would recommend for sure having a hard stop order. And so if something crazy happens, you minimize damage as much as you can. This is the kind of stuff where, a 20, 30 plus point move can come in a blink or more. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream on Instagram. If you'd like to stay on, hop over to YouTube. I'm sharing my screens on there. You can see my levels on there and my trading game plan and everything as I execute throughout the day will be shared on there. So see you guys on Instagram. Link is in my bio and the link is in my story on Instagram if you'd like to stay on the stream on YouTube. Peace. All right, so we're bouncing back up here. Let's see what kind of activity occurs up here. We are kind of surging a bit, so I'm going to be cautious kind of stepping in front of anything, but from a risk versus reward perspective, shorts are just looking kind of better right here. Another quick pop, and I might be in this if it fails. Continuing to reject off this level now. We see all this buying attempting to pop here. That got really weak up here. Sellers rejected this back down again. We're right under that prior day lows around 6,007, 6,008. All right. I'm in this thing short from 6,010, and I'll probably hold it with just like a 2-point stop loss over like 12. I'd like to see this drop pretty sharply here. Otherwise, I'll take it right off for a very small loss. I like this failed top, kind of a double top here, some interesting activity. But it may come back and stop hunt again. We'll see if sellers want to be strong here or not. There is quite a bit of selling right around 11 to 12 that I'd like to see hold and not get squeezed higher. If I see any sharp aggressive buying too here and this doesn't sell from here, I might just close this right away. Really want to see aggressive buying right now. I mean, aggressive selling come in right now. All right, we're getting the aggressive selling. Probably trail my stop because I really want to see aggressive selling come in now. I don't want to see this bounce and go stop hunt the highs again. The best sell-offs really drop fast, and when you have the timing right, they don't. You don't want to hold for like multiple stop hunts. And you have the timing right. We already got the stop hunt, and now it's going to drop. I'm already up 4 points, so I'm not going to hold this red. I want to see this structure break here, break down. Here's some nice selling coming in. This has got to drop it. Otherwise, I'll get out because I don't want to see a fake out under this low, bounce back up over the highs. Here's a nice drop, about to scale out half here for around 10 points. And we'll see how much we can ride this for. All right, I'm out half for about 8 points. And I'm trailing my stop to break even to give it a little bit of breathing room. And we'll see if we can get a nice aggressive drop back down here now. I don't want to see 6,000 hold. So that's that. I'm front running 6,000 a little bit, guys, to pad a little bit of profit. I'm up 8 points and I was risking 2 points. So that's already a 4-hour trade. So I'm just going to lighten the load here. It's a 4-hour trade. If this comes back for break even, then it's already a 2-hour trade, even just scaling out half. So I don't want to see 6,000 react with strong buying. I want to see it break down. And it's bouncing pretty sharply here. Again, I got in shorts at 60.10. I covered half around 6,002. And now I trailed my stop loss because I want to see I front ran 6,000 when I saw this offer right here, or this bid, sorry. I front ran my target with half my position, which my target was a sharp breakdown under 6,000. And then I would just keep trailing my stop loss. But if we bounce here aggressively off 6,000, I don't want to see us go take out the highs again, which could happen. It's, before a drop happens, it's not surprising to see like multiple stop hunts on the highs. So I'm just going to be super defensive and look to re-enter. But given the weakness overall, if we fail back below the 50% here, this could set up for a nice drop and a situation where I'll just hold this half of this position and keep trailing my risk where it makes sense. Like if we get a nice strong breakdown under 6,000, then I'll probably trail my stop again. But I really want to see sellers take this 6,000 out. I don't like how this is holding, which is that pre-market swing high too. There we go. Come on, go take out 6,000. Don't bounce. Up 10 points now, so this could already be a 5-hour trade and close it. But just given the weakness, I think we could see a nice sharp drop here. I'm going to try to be patient, but I don't want to see this strength now hold above 6,000. We got to break 6,000s here. If we can break 6,000s, then maybe we can go test the origin of this pop around VWAP around 59.87 to 85. That seems reasonable. That's not too crazy of an ask, I think, around 87, 85. But if this buying stays in here, it's going to go take me out. Whoa. I'm still in. That came really darn close to taking me out. I don't really like how this selling got weaker. And we had that super aggressive pop there, but that could be a trap. That could be a stop hunt trap, and my entry was just good enough to survive it, but we'll see. If this buys again here, I'm going to close. I want to see this break. You need to see sellers put those buyers in pain right here. All right, I don't like this stall. I'm out for 9 points there. So about a 4.5 hour scalp. This might be a big drop. And if we break under 6,000, then I could maybe look to re-enter. But it's hard to complain about a 4-hour scalp in a few minutes there. I don't like this. So for me to hold this trade, I was speculating that we would break down 6,000. And right now we're pretty aggressive buying of 6,000. So I'll just take the 4-hour trade. It's Friday. Not going to get too crazy. If we break down under 6,000, maybe I can look to re-enter on a break and retest under 6,000. But right now, I'm up 4R. I just barely survived that aggressive buying pop. And yeah, that might be a stop hunt before we break down. It probably is now that I got out for that 4-hour scalp. But still aggressive buying kind of holding this, passive buying kind of holding this. Yeah, we might still go break this down here, and I might have just got faked out. But I got faked out and still made 4R on the trade. So if it breaks, then I still got a good enough entry for a 4-hour trade. Okay, here's some stronger selling now. Let's see if we get another failed pop. Now we're dipping under that 6,000. Let's see if we get another failed pop. If we get a failed pop, then I may re-add my half position with smaller size. Now that we have better confirmation under 6,000. I don't have any bias. I just go with what the market tells me. I come up with what if scenarios for either direction, and then we just let the market decide what happens and make the best decision we can in the moment. See if we get another quick pop that fails to re-add this short position. Can't believe I got faked out on that stop hunt. I think, I'm honest with you guys, seeing this pop almost take me out for break even after being up 10 points, and then we came back and I was still up 10 points, and then I saw this buying start to step in. I was like, F this, take the 4-hour trade and be done. Because I was watching out for buying to support that 6,000. And it did. Now that we're under it though, like I said, let's just watch and see if we get a bounce that makes sense to add the position back on. All right. So I got short filled there at 98. I'm going to trail my stop pretty immediately. I want to see this break down after that retest. Else I'll just look to get in on a better bounce. Again, still targeting those 85s to 87s. Yeah, I'm trailing my stop loss again here. I don't want to get taken out for a loss now. I want to see this drop fast and heavy. 98s. Just a continuation of what I just got out of. Large order there. 400 lots. Want to skip. I don't want to see that whole. Want to see us break under that pretty immediately. There we go. Almost to that target. I just flattened at 89 for 9 more points. So took a 9-point on 2-point risk, got in at 98 with a stop over 6,000, another 2-point risk, another 9 points. No, I didn't have a wider stop. And because I was scalping it on the breakdown under that level, it was speculating like right now or I'm out. And we got it right now. I got another 9 points out of it on 2-point risk. You know, I'm a scalper. I'm not trying to hold for the whole daily move. Yes, I always use hard stops, especially in very crazy volatile conditions like this. I definitely use hard stops. So up over 20 point or around 20 points on the day now, risking 2 points and then 2 points again. But really the second, yeah, I was risking 2 points, but I kind of just got back in the same trade and risked 2 points of my realized gain, but I guess you could call it 2 points of unrealized gain. So really I made about 20 points risking 2 points. Whoa. See, that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's why I'm out. What just happened? That's what I'm saying. Anytime a headline can come in and smoke you, that would have just, if I didn't just take that 9 points for the quick scalp and I was trying to be a superhero and hold for a massive move. Oh yeah, I forgot about consumer sentiment. So, oh man, I got lucky there, guys. I got lucky a little bit. It wasn't lucky because I had a plan for the trade, but I got lucky because I got out of that before that news hit and I forgot about the news. I'm a little tired. I got home late from Disney last night after taking the kids out. So, well, I got lucky because I forgot about the news and that would have stopped me out. Um, but I didn't really get lucky because I had a plan for the trade and I took it off. Like my target was here and I saw these large orders hitting and I said, okay, I'm just going to front run my target, take it off a couple points ahead. And yeah, I'm a little bit distracted because I'm talking to you guys and stuff. But 20 points on the day, 2-point risk. That's going to wrap up the week for me, guys. I'm not going to sit here all day on a Friday and try to hunt more points out of this. Yes, we could see a crazy big news move, but to me, it's pretty unpredictable. I just play the levels, play the price action, and repeat the same strategy that I do every day, depending on if there's news or if there's not. Um, I'm not a gambler, so I'm not going to try to catch a massive move that it would be just a gamble based on the news. I can make money doing this in almost any conditions and any volatility, whether there's news or whether there's not, because I have a system of reading the order flow, and I don't need to try to get lucky on a windfall from news. In fact, more often than not, when I do that, it puts me in the wrong mindset and I end up taking losses because I am trying to catch a massive move on the news. But followed the system, followed the levels that I was talking about. You know, I got a 9-point trade and then a 10-point trade, or nine and change exits on both trades. So, and I was trading very small size today because of the volatility. So I'm up over $1,000, risking $200 today. How do I put the lot size? Oh, so you're talking about this is the absorption indicator on Bookmap. It just shows fast orders and you can adjust it based on volatility. It's the absorption indicator add-on, and I have it configured in the automatic mode, but I adjust the multiple standard deviation, I think multiple, based on how volatile price action is. It's not super critical. I don't take trades based on this, but you can see I got out of my trade after seeing this because I was reading this as absorption, and then I saw the absorption indicator popping up. So I was up 9 points. We were just almost at my target. I saw this start popping up. I said, okay, I'm good. Take it off. So again, that I don't really count that as additional risk because I initially risked 2 points and I took it off for 9 points, and then I got back in the same trade. Yes, I was risking 2 points of some of my realized profit, but really it was the same trade, same idea, just kind of multiple entries and exits on it. So I was really risking $200 to make $1,000 today. What about next week? I'll do some lives next week as well. I'll do some lives this next week as well. I don't know if I'm going to commit to every day. Let me think about it, and I'll post a poll on Instagram. But I'll do it at least a couple days. How about that? I'm going to be honest. Like I want to go back to sizing up, and I kind of sized down. I've only been trading like 1 or 2 contracts, and I'd like to be trading 3 or 4 contracts. But just for doing this live and everything, it kind of relieves a little bit of pressure on me because it is extra pressure, guys. I'm going to be honest. Like I don't want to look like a fool on the live stream. So taking some of the pressure off by reducing my size and talking through this with you guys at the same time. So if you guys appreciate this and you find value in this, all I ask is that you just like and share so more people join in and we have a great community going here. I appreciate everyone's comments and chat. Really, it's just educational focused. I know a lot of people out there like to flash rented Lambos on social media and then sell a course. So I've got nothing to this, and I'm not flashing lifestyle. I'm just trading that I'm doing anyway. So yeah, I went short from 6,010, entered and exited and all out at 59.89. So realized about 18, 19 points on 2 points of risk. Why short? Because we're retesting like if you just go back and rewatch the live stream when I post it, and yeah, my flashiness is taking my kids to Disney in the middle of the week instead of sitting in a cubicle. Go back and watch the live stream when I post it, and you'll see all of my analysis I walked through this morning about when and where I was looking for. But TLDR, this 50% of this range was around 6,000, 6,001. And yesterday's opening price range, the low of yesterday's regular trading hours was around 6,008. So I saw us briefly break above that 50% at 6,000. And then I saw a lot of absorption and aggressive selling starting to hit right at yesterday's opening price range. And if you guys remember, I've always said the levels that I typically like to look at are opens, highs, lows, and close. So session opens in the morning open price, highs and lows on the day. And this was both regular trading hours, low on the day, and the opening price range from yesterday. Sellers reloaded there. I saw it happening on the order flow, took it short, and didn't target anything crazy, just targeted the lows from the pre-market here. So that pre-market rally, if I switch over, well, we can just see it here. So look at this. I think this is when Trump said it's a good time to buy the market because Iran will no longer have nuclear power or something like that. And we shot up. So let me box on it here really quick. This is what I was targeting ultimately. Yeah, and we might keep breaking down today, and that's great. You can continue making money on that. But for me, this was the most high probability target to hit first. Barely lost. We might continue breaking on today. That's none of my business. I already got my piece and I'm done. So we had this little news pop. We rallied back into that opening highs or the opening range from yesterday and the regular trading hours low. So when we got up here, look at how this buying got weak up here. It got weak and filled some offers, rejected back down. We started to see aggressive selling come in. Then on this bounce back, look at all this aggressive buying try, and then it got weak. Like, see how aggressive buying to me equals passive seller up here. And then it got weak up here again, and we rejected back down. So right here is where I took the market short, around 60.10 right here. So I saw this aggressive selling come back in. I saw this weaker volume pop on this buying. I took it short here around 60.10 with just a stop loss over this aggressive selling here at 60.12. Make sense? 2 points of risk, almost 20 points of reward. All right, guys, have a good day. It's Friday. I hope everybody enjoys your weekend. Unfortunately, this volatility is a good thing for us traders, but it's also kind of sad because of what's going on in the Middle East. But just our job to capitalize when there's opportunity in the market. And we'll be back next week. It should be a crazy week next week with FOMC rate decision and also any extension of this conflict between Israel and Iran. So lots of craziness possibly coming up. So, all right, with that, I'm going to wrap it up, and everybody have a good day. Do you want me to make a recap for Instagram really quick? I can make a trade recap for this setup. And we are continuing to break down, so these rallies are continuing to fail. Yeah, it will only take me a few minutes. I'm not going to edit it a ton, so the quality's not going to be the greatest Instagram reel ever because I want to go enjoy my day. But I'll make a quick recap for Instagram and show you guys the trade setup. It's nothing crazy, just $1,000 today, but it's 10 a.m. and we made $1,000 in like a couple minutes. And I'm trading with small size this week for the streaming. So I'll post a weekly recap too, just kind of recapping everything that we did this week on the live streams. So no, not back to Disney. I'm burned out. It's nice having the annual passes and living in Orlando near Disney. So it's like just not that much. Like I think we pay like a little over $100 a month for all of our passes. So we can just go and take the kids, and it's like a ton of fun for the kids. Like I'm not a super big Disney person, but it's super fun for the kids, and it's all we got in Orlando. There's not a whole lot. Can you adopt me, please? We got beaches and Disney, guys. That's what we got. No mountains, no snow, no skiing, stuff like that. We got Disney and beaches. All right, peace, guys. I'll make a recap on Instagram and post it for you guys. See ya. Thanks. And again, one last plug. Like and share. That helps out the channel. Appreciate you guys. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for your commenting and participation. Really appreciate you guys being here. So thanks. See you guys.